Hello, my name is Edward Boyer. I'm a medical toxicologist. We're the smallest of all medical subspecialties. So we focus on poisonings, overdoses, adverse drug events, drug interactions, and literally anything in non-human that can affect humans. So when I don't have slides. So when I think about the adverse events of kratom, they generally fall into, right now, two main areas. They fall into seizures, they fall into cardiac effects where you develop a cardiac dysrhythmia. And I just want to give you guys sort of my super fast analysis of why I don't think you can hang those adverse events on kratom. Yeah, when you think about nitroguanine as the predominant alkaloid, it's got 5-HT2, that serotonin binding, 5-HT2A and B, which is a site where SSRIs work. It's got MOR, mu opioid receptor activity, and it's also got central acting alpha-2 agonist activity, such like clonidine, guanfacine, or dexmedetomidine. So if you believe, as medical toxicologists do, that there has to be a mechanism of disease, there has to be something in a substance that causes the outcome, we need to go back and look at the pharmacology. When I do my analysis, I think about what would happen if I overdosed on the particular drugs, that have the same pharmacology. So 5-HT2A and B, that sounds like serotonin syndrome. Serotonin syndrome is not associated with seizures. It can be confused with seizures because you develop a tremor in the lower extremities more than the upper, but you do not seize unless you have hyperthermia from increased muscle tone. The seizures that happen because you're hyperthermic, not because you have serotonin syndrome. So the serotonergic activities of nitroguanine, and by extension kratom, are insufficient to cause seizure activities. Well, how about MOR? MOR, the mu opioid receptor agonistic binding does not cause seizures. It might in withdrawal, but only in neonates. After you pass out of the neonatal period, seizures do not occur in isolated opioid withdrawal. So again, we don't have a mechanism to point at nitroguanine. And lastly, 5-HT2A, in the United States, it seems like so many people are maintained on either clonidine or guanfacine for ADHD. We have people overdosing on these medications all the time, or certainly overusing them, and that's not a cause of seizures. That's not part of the toxidrome, the clinical presentation of toxicity that occurs with that class of drugs. Now, if you look at people who have seized while taking kratom, generally one of two things has happened. They either have a seizure disorder, which is undertreated, or which may be undertreated, I should say, or they've taken proconvulsant substances, drugs which on their own are associated with convulsant activity. In individuals who don't take a medication that's proconvulsant, who do not have an existing seizure disorder, and you do an EEG on those folks, you actually get brainwave patterns out of them. Those folks seem to have a focus of seizure activity which just hasn't led to seizures up to that point. So we're looking at the first seizure, not a kratom-caused seizure. So if you're going to hang your hat on kratom, you need to do a lot more research to prove that there's causation. Right now, it simply doesn't exist. On the cardiac end, the data is much more sparse. But kratom does not cause sodium or significant potassium channel activity, which are the general causes of ventricular tachycardias of most forms. So if it doesn't have those activities, finding a mechanism by which it could cause ventricular tachycardia, torsade de pointe, or some other cause of a ventricular dysrhythmia is lacking as well. So to summarize, I don't believe that there is sufficient data to establish causation that kratom or nitroguanine causes the adverse events that are associated with it. And in fact, I think when you look at the small number of people who've had seizures in the context of kratom use worldwide, and we're only talking maybe 30 people, we're probably just looking at the background incidence of seizures in general. And with that, I'll stop.